Hello guys, what's up? It's Tova. I hope you all are doing well. Today we have a sit down video and we are going to be talking step by step how you can start your own business. I have my trusty little notebook here where I wrote down pretty much everything that came to mind when I started my business, things that I think can help you start your business. I'm gonna move these because they're distracting me. We're going to outline this into 6 different steps and I'll have chapters on this video, so if you want to skip to any, feel free to. But we're gonna start with step number 1. It's gonna be the most basic, and it is, what is your business? So some questions that you can ask in this stage is, what's your business? What is your business? What are you trying to sell? I'll use my business for example. So I knew I wanted to sell apparel, clothing, hoodies, t-shirts, crew necks, hats. And once you get that question down, you want to ask, what's your niche? So for me, my niche would be mental health apparel or like positive reminders apparel. So it's not just any type of hoodie or crew neck. It is centered around positivity and mental health. Are you an apparel business that wants to give back for mental health? Are you an apparel business about anime? Are you a candle business that, makes like the sculptures? Like, is that your niche? Another important question for success is, what gap are you filling? What makes your business different than the rest? So I'm going to assume that before starting your business, you did some research. And if you haven't, then I highly recommend you do some research on the market and see like what kind of brands are out there. If I do this, am I directly copying someone else? And what's a way that I could take this kind of concept or idea and spin it in my own way that fills a gap and sets me apart? It could be anything. I'm sure there's many gaps in this market that you can think of that you want to fill with your business. You can totally start a business in a saturated community. It's not an issue at all. You just want to know what makes you different. If someone asks like, why support you when I could support them, you want to have an answer ready for that. Okay, then we're going on to step number 2, which is going to be, how will you bring your business to life? So this is when you need to ask yourself, am I going to make it from home with my own 2 hands? Am I going to need machinery for that? Like, what am I going to need to do that? Am I going to find a manufacturer? Am I going to find one locally here? Am I going to find one overseas? Like, how am I going to find a manufacturer, supplier for the things that I want to do? How much will that cost? So this is when you start really breaking down like, okay, I have this idea. I know what I want to do, but how am I going to bring it to life? For me personally, when I started my business, I decided to make it from home. Went out and I bought a heat press and I bought a Cricut. It's a professional cutting machine. I would cut my designs with heat transfer vinyl, and then I had a heat press that I bought, and you would press that onto the shirt, and there you go, now you have a shirt. So that is how I started with my business. There's other ways you could start it too, because like a couple months down the road, I decided to hire a professional screen printer. A lot of people will get something completely made just for them, something that's custom made. This is when you're going to need to find a manufacturer, and one place that you can look for that is Alibaba. Alibaba has tons of manufacturers for literally any product that you can think of. You definitely want to do research on how to start your product and what the easiest and best ways are. And that leads into number 3 when starting your business, which is, what's your budget? Because if you're starting your business with $500 per se, I wouldn't say it's the smartest idea to go through custom manufacturing route, because it's likely going to cost more than that, and most custom manufacturers at least have a minimum order requirement of 100 pieces, which if you're starting, you may not want to commit to 100 pieces, which is totally understandable. So this is where something like making something from home, like even if you're making candles from home, or you're making stationery from home, sticker business from home, clothing from home, this is where it could make sense if you have a small starting budget. So for me, I think I put in about $800 into all my machinery, and that is what got me through. And then once I made money from the products I sold using those machinery, then I was able to invest in getting a proper manufacturer, or the things that might require a higher budget. So in this step, you need to look at 3 different things. The first thing is, what is the cost to start? So once you figure out how you're going to bring your product to life, you want to look up all the costs and figure out what is your cost to start. And then you're going to want to look at overhead costs. So for instance, if you do decide to go through a custom manufacturer, like how much is shipping going to be? How much is duties going to be? Because you're going to want to calculate that into all your pricing. Other overhead costs are like, how much is your website going to be? Subscriptions, running ads. Those are all some overhead costs. Rent, if you're renting a place. You got to think about all those things. And then the third thing is another job. Like, are you running this with another job? Are you doing this without another job? Totally okay if you're starting a business with another job. I actually recommend it. It adds a level of security, and it always makes sure that you're making money. Eventually, once your small business does become independent, then you don't need that job anymore. But it's nice to have both if you have time for both. Now the fourth step is going to be the legal stuff. So this is all stuff you want to do before you launch, because you do not want to launch and have a disaster. You want to make sure everything is smooth sailing. First thing you want to do is register your business. I don't know how it is in different states in the US, but I do know in Canada, in Ontario, it cost me about $60 or so to register my business. I think in BC it's a little bit more expensive, but it really depends on each province how much it's going to cost to register your business. And all this does is it literally just registers your business in Canada, so you are legal. Next thing you want to do is make an HST GST number and a business number. This is going to be very crucial when it comes to taxes, because you need an HST number if you're collecting taxes. And at the end of the year, when you have to pay your income tax, those numbers are very important. So I would just get them out of the way and get all those numbers sorted. Now, you also want to look at the name of your business and if you have any logos and if it's trademarked or copyrighted already, because obviously you do not want to get into any legal issues or get sued or anything like that, okay? So you want to make sure there's definitely some websites online where you can check and see if a name or a logo is already trademarked or copyrighted in your country. If it's not, then if you have the means and you have the budget, I would recommend trademarking or copywriting, because you want to protect your assets. So those are all legal things that you need to look into before you even start your business. The fifth thing you want to look at is what your packaging is going to look like. I think as a small business, packaging is so important. Not that you have to do an excess amount of it, but a lot of people do enjoy shopping small because they know they're going to get like a free sticker, or they know they're going to get like a little thank you card or like extra tissue paper in their wrapping. It's going to be different ordering from you than it is going to be ordering online from Target or Walmart, right? Or even Amazon. You know, there's nothing to it. That's a process that a lot of people do enjoy in shopping small, along with obviously the goodness of their heart of wanting to support a small business. You want to ask yourself, like, what packaging is going to make me different? So for me, I instantly knew that I wanted to have handwritten thank you cards, and I instantly knew I was going to give free stickers. This is something you obviously need to add into your cost as well. Are you going to buy thank you cards? Are you going to buy freebie stickers? Cost of poly mailers or boxes in order to ship out your items? And those are all things that you need to keep in mind. But not only packaging in the sense of like materials wise, but you also want to think about who's going to be packaging. Will you be the one packaging, and where? For me, like the fulfillment, I have an office, and people, they may not have the room for that. So like, will you need a small warehouse or a small office that you need to rent? I know a lot of people who don't have space in their house store in like a storage bin. These are all questions you need to ask. And then the very last step, the sixth step, is to sample your items. This is so important because a lot of stuff goes wrong. Although it's great to trust, sometimes it also leads to mistakes. You want to make sure that you are confident in your product and also that you have some opinions on your product. Let's say that we're not a small business who's selling materialistic things, but we're selling services. Let's say you're doing like eyelashes. Maybe offer services for free or for a discounted price to family and friends for the first, week or two. You can not only get an experience of providing this service, but you can get feedback and opinions and reviews. For clothing, for me, I showed it to a bunch of friends. I got their opinions. I asked, do you like the softness of this shirt? Do you like the softness of that shirt? Like, do you like the size of this or that? And sometimes when you look at something for too long, it just kind of gets a little jumbled in your brain. So it's very important to get another piece of advice and another set of eyes on something. So if this requires you gifting a product to someone else and asking what they think about it, or having someone use it, or even just for you using the product. So let's say you make candles, burn that candle. See how that candle works before you decide to sell it, because you might find issues and flaws in the product that you might want to fix before you launch it. Those are all my tips. I hope that helped and it brings some clarity and direction on how to start your business. I want to be able to help in the best way possible, and I don't want this process to be scary for you. And if you have any questions whatsoever, just leave a comment down below and I'll be able to help you to the best of my abilities. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos of mine and so we can become friends. And I'll see you again sometime soon. Don't forget to stay cool. Peace. Funky. My darling, I